Alright guys, welcome back again to some more of the house in Fata Morgana. I want to thank you all once more for your continued support in this series. Always appreciate it. I gotta say guys, finally being dropped into Morgana's part of her story, and I mean literally dropped into it, is really fascinating because now we get to actually see the characters. I should say 3 characters, but we only met 1 out of the 3 so far, that we were exposed to during the first 3 doors we were going through. So we finally met Mel, and we're about to meet the sister. And I'm curious to see how all these characters really are, like, as in their true state, instead of how we were kind of given, I guess, a part of them when we were going through the 3 doors. So hopefully we get to see how they really are continuing on. So with that said guys, hope you all continue to enjoy watching, and let's see the story through. Alright all, and we're back. Of course. Thank you. You know, I never did get your name. It's Mikkel. Ah, right. After the Archangel Michael. Just like you said. I've never really cared much for Michael, to be honest. He weighs your soul in one hand on his perfectly balanced scales, then delivers its punishment with the sword in his other. He's not an angel of salvation. Out of curiosity, could you perhaps be... No. Never mind. It's turned into a bit of a storage area, but there's an open room you can use. I'll show you the way. I appreciate your courtesy. Well, this is just lovely. There are cracks in the ceiling and the walls peeling off. There's a bed at least, but it's coated in dust. This was a storeroom when I lived here, as I recall. Sorry about the condition. I didn't choose a bad room for you on purpose, I promise. If you want to sleep somewhere more comfortable, you're not gonna find that here. Not a problem. I'm grateful to have a room at all. If you say so. Well, I have work to do, so I should be on my way. I'll talk to the Saintess as promised. I imagine she'll make supper for you at some point. But do keep your crazy talk to yourself around her. I'll make note of it, thank you. See you. We made it work, somehow. Somehow. It's a lot of pressure being under that much suspicion, huh? My heart was pounding the whole time. And that Archangel Michael came to me in a vision stuff. I never expected you to go there. Why'd you tell him that anyway? Because I didn't think telling him I know the future and I need your help to change it would have gone out over very well. Besides, those who yearn for redemption have a tendency to latch onto the spiritual. I thought taking advantage of that would work to our benefit. You know, I bet you'd make a pretty good con artist, Mikkel. I did what I thought was necessary. I know. Besides, you have every intention of keeping your promise, don't you? Whether or not Mel can be saved is up to him. I will lend him my hand, though. Oh, you. You say it's all on him, but deep down, you know you're on his side. We're complete strangers to this Mel, but I can't bring myself to think of him that way. We just met today, but it feels like reuniting with an old friend. He's the same old Mel. And you were actually there, a part of his life, which I imagine makes the sentiment all the stronger. You don't feel the same way? I don't think of him as a total stranger, no. However, nothing. I was about to say something incredibly cynical, but I caught myself. What? It's nothing. Don't worry about it. If you say so. I was always the one with nothing to offer, powerless to be of anyone's help. So if anything's motivating me, it's not concern for the boy, but a desire to prove that someone like me can do something. It didn't take much arm twisting to get him to give us a room, so who knows, maybe he'll come over to our side easier than either of us expect. Him giving us a room was not simply out of kindness. Keeping me nearby allows him to keep an eye on me. He doesn't trust me, but he also doesn't know enough about me to decide what to do yet. He needs time, and doing this gives him that time. If he decides to keep me around this not to his advantage, he will act accordingly. Do you really think he'll do anything to hurt you? Mel's a kind boy, and, well, to be frank, I don't think he has the spine for it. It's hard to say, but even if he doesn't, we still have the other two men to worry about. Nevertheless, his cooperation will undoubtedly be the easiest of the three to gain. We were fortunate to run into him first. What makes you say that? Did you ever have a chance to see the shadows trapped in the mansion? Shadows. I might have, but around the time Hayden Rhodes passed away, I wasn't really there anymore. I stopped thinking, stopped trying to make sense of the things inhabiting the house. I had become merely another part of the cursed mansion. I was only able to converse with them after I had reclaimed myself. I suppose much like the rules differ between the realms of the living and the dead, so too do they differ for those who have lost their grip on reality. As I was searching for a way to get you out of the tower, I encountered and spoke with the three men's shadows. Of the three, Mel was the least threatening. He bears a great deal of regret. He yearns for someone to save him. I heard him muttering, "This isn't what I wanted." He doesn't want to be involved in this. Someone else is holding the reins. My first guess would be the Lord, but regardless, they are not equals in this endeavor. If he finds out, then maybe he would have agreed to help if we told him we were here to save Morgana. Carelessly revealing our hand at this stage did not seem wise. It would have never gotten to this point if it were so easy to stop. So I guess our first task is to earn Mel's trust. Morgana's death is in 3 days. We have until then to get all 3 keys. It won't be easy. I mean, we weren't even present in this world until today. Exactly. We have no one to vouch for us, no one who even knows who we are. But we have knowledge, quite a bit of it in fact. We not only know what happens in this era, but you showed me their next lives as well. From that, we can deduce how they might behave and to whom they have ties. You're right, we do. We know things we should have no way of knowing. And we can use that knowledge to our advantage. Their various interpersonal relationships are where we can get our edge, I think. They each have their reasons for locking Morgana up, and if I'm right, they're doing it for the other people. It's these powerful bonds driving them. Mel's driving force would be his sister, for instance. Are they mere bonds, or is it fate that ties them together? You're right, we should find and talk to his sister. Mel's more likely to act if it's coming from her than us. I agree, if his sister tells him to stop, he won't have any reason to continue his involvement. Knowing how the first tale ended makes me slightly uncertain. But for now, we can work under the assumption that he does genuinely care for her. What do you want to bet she's somewhere nearby? I mean, she will be. It was her death that sparked the chaos on the day of the Harvest Festival. Right. It was. No, you're exactly right. But what I was going to say is that people tend to keep those they care most about close by. It would appear I have a bad tendency to focus too much on the facts. That was entirely unnecessary of me. Giselle did not need to be reminded of that. I'm sorry. Huh? What for? For being careless with my words. Inconsiderate. No need to apologize for the truth. Besides, you and inconsiderate are like oil and water. And today, you're the fire to my oil. We have 3 days to stop this tragedy. Let's get to work. Let's. We'll probably have more luck asking than just searching for her. If we can't find Mel, the nun might know. Off we go. As I head into the chapel, I see an old man waving to the nun as he heads for the door. The man is practically beaming, and judging by the vial in his hand, he's happy about more than simply having the chance to see her. Is that Saint's blood? According to Morgana's account, a disease began spreading through the city at the Harvest Festival, eventually eradicating the population. In a time like this where medical knowledge is so limited, a plague would be almost unstoppable. And the sight of so many people dying so quickly could appear to them the work of a demon or a curse. We come from the future, so we know just how dangerous this is. But they have no idea. Morgana described it as a tale that could have only taken place in that era of miracles and spirituality, and about that, she couldn't be more right. Could we maybe warn everyone against taking the medicine? I assumed the sickness was caused by them ingesting blood at any rate. It's not medicine they're being given, but bottled disease, like some sick joke. If we could convince them to stop taking Saint's blood, then maybe that'll prevent the seed from being destroyed. But the fact that it's being distributed in the house of the Lord, and peddled as a miracle cure, plays right into their deep-rooted spirituality. Would it even be possible to convince them otherwise? And besides, it's not them we came here to save, but... No, that's veering too far off our intended path. We need to find the truth and save Morgana's soul. Putting ourselves out like that is only going to get us unwanted attention, make people suspicious. And we don't have that kind of time. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. It's just... knowing what they're doing to themselves, I couldn't help but think that maybe there was something we could do. Especially considering how it all turns out. I understand the sentiment. Or rather, I understand your reasoning. But for me, Morgana takes priority over any of them. And you over everything. Releasing Morgana's soul should save yours as well, Giselle. If we can eliminate the mansion's darkness, then you won't have to be trapped as it's made. I have no interest in being the hero of the masses. Let's go ask about Mel's sister then. Okay. I turn my gaze back toward the nun to find her kneeling in one of the pews. She bows her head and begins to whisper a prayer. There's no one else in the chapel. Now's the perfect time to ask. Hearing me approach, she falls silent and turns to face me, wearing her usual disarming smile. Hello, Mikkel. Mel was just here. He told me everything. Can't turn away a friend of Mel's now, can we? Sorry for turning you down earlier. No worries. I did a poor job of explaining myself. So, did you need something? Let me guess. Medicine? No, I'm in perfectly good health. I figured you were lying. I can ask her about Saint's blood some other time. And while I have the number of questions about the man she's close with too, right now, Mel's sister's priority. Are you familiar with Mel's younger sister? She has flaxen hair, much like him. Oh, you mean Nellie. Are you her friend too? I would say we're more... You're better off just saying you're friends. Friends, yes. What about her? I would like to speak with her, and I was wondering if you might know where I could find her. Nellie should be down at the cottage, I believe. The cottage. Yep, that's where I stay too. I don't sleep in the mansion itself. So you don't live here, but only work here. Right, for one, there are men who live here. The Lord likes to show up on occasion too, and we can't have a nun wandering around while he's here. So you and Nellie live together then? Yep, we have for about 6 months or so, ever since she and Mel showed up. I wanted to let her stay with her brother. But since this is technically a church property, we have to keep the boys and girls separate. I see. I'm so glad to hear Nellie's got a friend though. What? She's not from around here, so she doesn't have many acquaintances. And with how sick she can get, she doesn't spend much time outside. Which is a shame because she's such a sweet little girl. I'm her friend, of course, but I've got responsibilities. I can only be around so often. So I'm sure she'd be delighted to have someone else to talk to. It would be my pleasure. Could you tell me the way to the cottage then? Oh sure, it's not that far from here. You go down? The directions I got from the nun led me to a place I know from my own time. It's the same building where the man who had been ordered to keep me under surveillance stayed. Sunlight seeps relentlessly through the trees, and I find myself having to look down at my feet as I follow the path. It's blindingly bright. Painful. How you holding up, Mikkel? I'll be alright. The sun's past its peak. In a few hours, it won't be nearly as bad. Don't push yourself, okay? Okay. The trek is a reminder of just how inconvenient my body always was. And having this chance to experience being alive again comes with both the good parts and the bad. But now is hardly the time to complain about my sensitivity to the sun. It's not long before you reach a clearing, a small cottage surrounded by a small garden coming into view. And crouching by a flower bed picking flowers is the flaxen-haired girl. Are you Nellie? Though several details of her appearance don't match my memory of her, she still has that distinct hair. It could be nobody else. This Nellie is considerably thinner and looks rather frail. The effects of her being ill, I presume. Who are you? My name is Mikkel. I have a few questions to ask you. Can we talk for a bit? I would have thought she'd have said something by now. You're being way too blunt, Mikkel. You've gone and scared her. What else was I supposed to say? You have to approach her slowly, carefully. Go on, give her a smile. A nice soft smile. Oh God. Mikkel and smiling don't really go hand in hand. Smile. I'm only here to talk. There's nothing to be afraid of. Okay, that is definitely not a nice smile. I can't even see it, and I can still tell. What did you expect? I can't just smile and demand. Ah, it's a bad man. A bad man has come to kidnap me. Save me, dearest Mel, before this bad man does bad things to me. Calm down, please. I'm not going to do anything to you. Don't get any closer. I know you're trying to do bad things to me. I'm not going to do bad things to you. I couldn't even if I wanted to. Don't move, or I'll call the guards on you. Please calm down. I mean you no harm, honestly. That's what all bad men say. Giselle, don't just watch. This would be a fantastic time for a little advice. Got it. Maybe she'll calm down if you mention Mel. You're a genius. I'm a friend of Mel's. What? He was telling me about you and how you wanted someone to talk to. He asked me to go keep you company. Mel asked you to come talk to me? He did. Do you trust me now? So that makes you his friend then? As much as it pains me to admit it. Mikkel, what on earth possessed you to say that? Slip of the tongue. You and him. Is that so? Yes? You're pretty old to be friends with my Mel. Are you really, really, really his friend? Really? Then prove it. How so? If you're really his friend, then you should be able to tell me all about him. Why in God's name would you ever subject me to that? Oh man. Do you not like Mel, Mikkel? That's not it. We're just incompatible. Okay, here we go. First question. What does my Mel like most of all? I have to answer this, don't I? Easy. Nelly, you. You think so too? You think I'm his favorite thing in the whole wide world? I like to believe that's what he thinks. I think it'd be wonderful if I could always be his number one. Her excessive love for her brother is still out in full force, I see. Thank God I was right. Second question, what kind of person is my Mel? This one might be a little hard. He's a nice guy. That's right, he's a very nice guy. He can have his head in the clouds sometimes, but other than that, he's perfect. You know your stuff. To be honest, I was just saying what you wanted to hear. Why would you say that? Me and my big mouth. Okay, final question. Describe what he looks like. Describe what he looks like for me. He's decently handsome. Isn't he? He's like a modern day Adonis. Wow. This little sister has a... Blinded by love, I see. That might be a bit of a stretch. Mel could be a prince in a fairy tale. He's got the most perfect face. May I ask you something? You do realize he's still growing, right? And that can change a man in unimaginable ways. He could end up 2 heads taller, shoulders twice as broad, and covered in muscle before you realize what's happened. And body hair. Lots of that. Facial hair as thick as these woods. Would you still consider Mel your prince if that happened to him? Mel with a beard and muscles? I won't have it. That's not my Mel at all. You're heading into dangerous waters, Mel. My Mel will never, ever grow a beard. I'll pray every day to make sure of it. And he won't get all big and muscly either. There's nothing princely about any of that. I wouldn't mind some muscles myself. Out of curiosity, did you ever want to be buff like that, Mikkel? Well, yes, of course. Every man wants to be strong and well built. I don't think the beefy look would work on you. Well, that's the last of my questions. You're not a complete stranger, it seems. Sure, why not? You can be my Mel's friend. Why, thank you. This is great. I was sure you were a bad man. Why is it that the first impression everyone has of me is never that I'm someone decent? Any friend of Mel's must be a good person. No, an amazing person. That's quite the faith you have in him. Why wouldn't I? He's my big brother. That's some circular logic. Is it just you? Is Mel not coming? He's rather busy at the moment. Oh, he always has something to take care of, that Mel. He's hardly given me any attention these past couple of months. But that's okay, because today I've got you to keep me company. Yes, you do. I can't stay long, though. Alright, just stay until sundown then. You had something you wanted to ask me, didn't you? Well, if you're a good enough friend, I'll tell you anything you want to know. And how do I go about that? Talking. Lots and lots of talking. You have to keep me entertained. You're asking far too much of me. She's not asking much at all. She just wants to talk. Do you think someone who spent 13 years in isolation knows the first thing about holding a pleasant conversation? Hey now, I was there for a year of that. I'll help you come up with topics, so go on. Do you not want to talk to me? No, I do. I'm just not much of a conversationalist. Okay then, instead of talking, you can sing. I've never seen a minstrel before, but I've always wanted to know what kinds of songs they sing. Will you show me? I'd rather just talk. I've never seen one myself either, but I have heard secondhand accounts of the songs of traveling jongleurs. I don't know how to pronounce that. Very well then. I'll teach you a song an old acquaintance of mine heard while traveling. Hooey, I can't wait. Here goes. Oh, she's not happy. The silence is deafening. I'm shocked. I don't think I've ever heard someone sing so badly. Me neither. I'm flabbergasted. Well, let's hear you try then. That's enough singing for today. I don't want my ears to fall off. What a vicious little girl. I know, let's bake something. Bake something? Yep, come on inside. Okay, she's definitely asking a lot, Mikkel. I made some nice jam earlier today, and I want to make it into a pretty little pie. You get to help me with that. I'm not much of a... Come on, get a move on. You either help or you don't get to be my friend. As you wish. This is not going to end well. Oh, this one's very demanding too. It looks like baking didn't go so well either. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. How on earth do you manage to turn a pie into this monstrosity? I gave it my best shot. There's only one explanation. You're possessed. It's true he is, but I'm a perfectly good chef. Mikhail's just naturally terrible at it. God, could this go any worse? I can't give this to Mel. Jerk, dimwit, loser. I'm sorry. Ugh. Well, I guess we got no choice but to eat it ourselves. I'll set the table. What? And I'll make us some tea while I'm at it. You know, I've always dreamed of this, sitting around a table with a friend, having snacks and just talking. Oh? Yep, and for that I can deal with a little awful disgusting pie. It's just too bad I couldn't share it with my Mel too. I see. For all her complaining, she seems to be enjoying herself. I can only imagine how lonely she is out here. While she may act all bright and cheerful, beneath it is a real sense of isolation. And the same can be said about the girl behind the first door. As vivacious and pushy as she could be, you could see hints of loneliness behind it all. Her brother was practically all she had while she lived in the mansion, but if I were to guess, that's not the life she really wanted. I bet she would have preferred to be able to go out and play with friends. Being born to a noble family takes away a lot of your freedom. Even in such drastically different time periods, she's still the same girl inside. Actually, maybe the parallels extend beyond her as a person and into courses of her two different lives. Perhaps that means all those who were reconstructed at Morgana's wish are destined to lead similar lives. Though destined might be putting it too nicely. Nelly. I'd be glad to lend you my ear if you would like. You can talk about the weather or your brother, anything you want. You will? Great! Take a seat. I've got lots I want to talk about. More than you can possibly imagine. And you'll never guess what Mel said next. That I mean more to him than anyone in the world. So I'm growing flowers out in the garden, right? Well, when I got enough of them, I'm gonna make a big bouquet and give it to Mel. Back at home, we've got this really, really big yard with this huge tree we used to take naps under when it was nice out. So what do you think about the tea I made? The flower's petals is what really ties it all together. Oh, and you won't believe what happened after that. Care for another cup of tea? I'll make as much as you can drink. No, thank you. I'm fine. I feel like all I did was nod and listen. And the bulk of it was about Mel, no less. I haven't talked that much in ages. Time sure flew by, huh? The sun's starting to set. Do you and the nun not speak much? We do, but it's kind of, I don't know, not really the same with her. It just feels, I guess, like she's too important for me to waste her time being the lady in charge of the church, and pretty much the whole estate. And what about Mel? Does he not visit you very often? No, he does. He comes to see me a lot. Then why? He hasn't been himself lately. My old Mel would always happily listen to whatever I had to say, but now, he seems kind of distracted. It sounds like he's really busy. When he visits, he doesn't stay for long, and he has to go back to the mansion at night. I'll try to get him to stay longer, but it never works. And he always avoids the question when I ask him why he can't. It feels like he's hiding something. Knowing what he's hiding, I can understand why he wouldn't want to talk about it. He could never tell his precious little sister that he and two other men have a girl locked up in a tower, and that he's stealing her blood for her sake. I wish things could have stayed the way they were before. The way they were before? When it was just the two of us living together. I know we're more stable here, and I can get the medicine I need from the church, but I'd rather stay being sick than being so alone. You said you came here around 6 months ago? Yep, it was just the two of us before that. Well, before that, our old house we had a bunch of servants, but I never really liked it there either. With that many people around, I just felt more alone. I liked it so much better when it was just me and Mel. Is that really what you want? To be sick and in constant pain? It's better than being alone. Mel just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that the loneliness is so much worse. Or maybe that's just a guy thing. They don't get what it's like to be ignored. What it feels like to be left in the dark, not knowing anything. We don't understand, no. We think saving their lives matters above all. Huh? Even if there's a cost to saving that life, we're incapable of gauging how great it is. We're unable to see how egotistical, how self-serving our actions are. Are you talking about yourself? The same could be said of Mel as well, I imagine. Mel's still around though. He's there, but it's like he's trying to avoid me. All I want is for him to be here, to be with me. That's all I really want. Alright guys, I'm gonna have to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. When we come back, we're gonna continue on with this little conversation we're having with Nelly. And hopefully it turns out for the better. So with that said guys, until the next one.